If you would rather have itchy tags in every single one of your shirts than get up at 6 a.m., but you also kind of really need some kind of morning routine because you hate that unstructured morning time, this video is for you. Today we're going to talk about how to create a neurodivergent morning routine that works with your body and brain's natural rhythms. Hi, my name is Megan, and welcome to Neurodivergent Magic, the YouTube channel for relatable and accessible neurodivergent content. Let's just jump on into this. How the heck do you create a morning routine for your neurodivergent brain? Number one, start with your nighttime routine. If you have a nighttime routine that you really like or enjoy or feels really natural to you, it makes way more sense to flow with that and to build a morning routine based on what you do at night rather than changing what you do at night in order to change what you do in the morning. Let me explain. If you like to stay up late, you find that it's a really relaxing time for you and you don't really want to change that, then I don't recommend creating a morning routine where you have to get up at 4 a.m. Basically, pay attention to what's already working for you in your life. Pay attention to patterns and routines that feel good to you, starting with what you do at night. I generally recommend making a list of everything you do in your nighttime routine, even if you don't think you have one. Basically, just write down everything you do in between after dinner and bedtime. And obviously it's okay if it's a little bit different every night. Just go for general categories like rest or hobbies or work. Step number 2, focus on your needs. I want to emphasize your and needs separately, so let's talk about both of those things. It's so important to focus on your needs. What do you need? It doesn't matter about the aesthetics. It doesn't matter about other people's morning routines. If you're like me and you love watching those YouTube videos of other people's morning routines, I totally get it. But at the end of the day, your morning routine will work best if you design it for you instead of designing it for a YouTube video. Now let's talk about your needs, because a lot of morning routines are not set up for needs. It's set up for aesthetics, I think. I think a lot of morning routines are set up to be cute and look appealing, even if it doesn't really meet the needs that you have. For instance, I would love to be one of those people who gets up at 4:30 in the morning and works out really hard, takes a luxurious bath and shower, reads a book, journals, makes a gourmet breakfast. I would love that morning routine. But I know myself, and I know not that I'm incapable of that, but that it doesn't suit my needs. That doesn't fit what is required of my day. You know what's required of me? Work. I have a lot of work that I need to get done during hours when my son is asleep. And so my morning routine is always going to prioritize my work over things like reading a book or taking a bubble bath. Sometimes self-care isn't a spa day, it's making your work schedule work for your life. I love spending time with my son, and I don't like working while he's awake if I can help it. So self-care for me, the best way to make my life work for me is to prioritize my work during my morning routine. If you don't know what you need, that's okay. That's step number 3. Prioritize your needs. Here's what I recommend. Get a bunch of small sticky notes and a large sheet of paper. Write down your needs on the sticky notes and put them anywhere you want on the paper. Don't worry about prioritizing just yet. Just get all the needs out. Maybe you need relaxation in the mornings because you just don't get it any other time of day. Maybe you're like me and you need to get work done in the morning so that you can spend the rest of the day how you want. Maybe you need coffee. Maybe coffee is a legitimate need that should be accounted for when making your morning routine, and that is okay. List all your needs, and then on the sheet of paper, start to organize them by importance. Now, I'm not saying all of your needs don't matter, but what I am going to say is that the top 3 that you end up with are probably the ones you should prioritize. For me, those are reflection, energy, and work. Reflection usually looks like journaling of some kind, energy might look like working out or going for a walk, and work is pretty self-explanatory. Step number 4, I want you to really take the time to identify your potential strengths and weaknesses when it comes to establishing a morning routine. I think this kind of introspection and reflection can be incredibly helpful when it comes to sticking to your morning routine. For instance, I know one of my weaknesses is that I hate getting up before my husband does. For some reason, it stresses me out. I don't know if it's a codependence thing or a people pleaser thing or a neurodivergent thing, but I hate it. It stresses me out. But if I want to get up and get my work done before my son wakes up, I also have to get up before my husband. You might think identifying these weaknesses is only going to discourage you from doing the morning routine, but in reality, it's actually the opposite. If I can plan for these weaknesses, if I can find ways to work around them, it will actually make me more successful. Plus, you also want to pinpoint your strengths. I'm sure that you have strengths when it comes to your morning routine as well. For me, one of my strengths is that I'm very coffee motivated. If I know there's coffee involved, I am way more likely to do something. So in order to get my morning routine done, in order to play to that strength, I make sure there is always coffee in my house. Step number 5 is to create flexible structure. You don't want a super rigid morning routine where everything has to go perfect or else you have failed, or else you can't go forward, or else you are a terrible person. Trying to get anything done that way is basically impossible. It's way better to build a structure that also has flexibility to it. For instance, maybe it's the same 5 things you want to do every morning, but you give yourself leeway to do those things in any order you feel like. If you're more like me and that kind of stresses you out, maybe you have a set order that you do everything, but each thing you do can vary a little bit day by day. Like maybe you'll make yourself a slightly different breakfast, or maybe you'll try different workouts. And finally, tip number 6 is to start before you're ready. A lot of neurodivergent folks grew up getting a lot of negative feedback, and so a lot of us coped by becoming people pleasers and perfectionists. There's a really strong temptation to not start anything until we're certain we can be perfect at it. We desperately want to avoid that negative feedback, even if it's only coming from ourselves nowadays. But here's the truth. Your morning routine doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be as you can be. And yeah, that's gonna include mess ups and screw ups and even failures. It's okay if you have mornings where you just can't get yourself out of bed. It's way more helpful to see that as a pause rather than a failure or an ending. If you see it as a pause, it's much easier to pick back up again and keep going. If you see it as an end of a streak, then it's really hard to start again. So start before you're ready. You can do this. You deserve to have a morning that refreshes you instead of drains you. I hope this video is going to help make that happen. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next Tuesday.